as dads, some days we feel like we have all the answers, and some days we feel like we don't have a clue. If that describes you, you're at the right place. This is the All Pro Dad Podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Ted Lowe, and each week on the All Pro Dad Podcast, we ask you just one question. We explore the answer, talk about what we've gotten wrong, occasionally what we've gotten right, what the experts say, and leave you with just one powerful but small pro move. Today, I am joined by Mr. Bobby Lewis. Bobby.
Hello. Hey, Ted.
And Mr. Buck Buchanan. And between the three of us, we've got kids in all ages and stages, but today is a little different.
Yeah.
Right? We're asking a different question. It's related a whole lot to being a dad.
Step aside, kiddos.
Bobby, what is that question?
What small moves can I make to help improve my marriage? And I know that's cool for all of us. We were just talking a second ago. We've been married for a bunch of different lengths of time.
Yeah.
You're 14?
14 years.
14. Yep. I'm 15 this summer. And you're how long?
I think 29. It's what's 95. I can't do the math.
So the two of us together are one Ted marriage.
I can smell the mothballs coming off his head.
That's my kind.
That smells like
hurt people, Buck. And
that
you
smells like experience, if you ask me.
It smells like, thank you, Bobby.
Wisdom. Yes.
Wisdom.
Marriage wisdom.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Yeah, we know not every listener here is going to be married, but we know that they're going to have to talk to their kids about being married.
Yeah.
And so I think this is relevant for all of us. So we're going to talk about today a little bit, what are some small moves to improve your marriage?
And for the, I don't want to cut you off too much, but for those who aren't familiar with Ted's work, like you've written books on marriage, you give talks on marriage. This is your wheelhouse. This is what you know a lot about. And so I'm hoping to learn a lot from you today, Mr. 29 years, so that we can all have better marriages. What is it about marriage that gets you so excited to talk about this? Why is it such a passion of yours?
It has been the thing that I've been focusing on since 2001. It's just so weird. Nancy and I, when I started doing this, we've been married about 6 years and we weren't even that great at it. So I don't know what that was all about. But no, we started actually at our church as a director of married life. And we're just saying they were having a hard time getting people on staff at that point. So that's the only thing I can figure. But we would do marriage events every quarter. And so I thought we've got to come up with things that people that live in the real world can actually go and do, because a lot of the marriage things that we were been a part of or conferences that we had gone to, it was so much content and it was great. But I felt like we were walking away with 10 years worth of content, in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I thought,
drink it from a fire hydrant feel or something.
It was. And I just remember walking into Barnes and Noble and thinking, I'm going to learn everything there is to know about marriage. And I'm looking at all these books and there must have been 200
million of them. Yeah.
Oh, there's 200 books. And I'm thinking, that's a lot for me to learn. And then, do you know how many marriage books right now that there are on Amazon?
It's crazy.
Oh gosh.
Take a guess.
100,000.
Yep.
Am I right? 100,000?
There's 100,000 marriage books. And you go, well, if you're a Christian, you're going with the Christians. There's 22,000 Christian marriage books.
Oh my gosh.
So you know what I decided to do by that craziness?
Yeah, write some.
I wrote 2 more and because that's just how it rolls. No, I really did. I thought, how do we do this?
Chuck them in the noise.
Yeah.
Chuck them in the noise. But at the same time.
To me, that tells me that people want to get it right.
They do want to get it right. Here's what I found with people in marriage. I feel like we beat them up a lot, especially guys. We beat them up for not being great or whatever at marriage, and no one's ever taught us how to do this. So how can we be great at something that no one's ever talked to us about? Most of us did not have models to do it. I find that dads and moms, just married people in general, don't have bad hearts. They have bad habits because no one taught them any differently. And so what I've really found, it's not these big monumental moments. It's these small moves. I mean, if it was the big monumental moments, if it was the vacations and the big celebrations, celebrities would have incredible marriages because they have all these resources to be able to do those things. It's these little micro moves. And the sum total of these micro moves equals the condition of your marriage. And I'm talking about what are those little tiny things throughout the day when you're interacting. And you can watch couples, how they interact.
I'm going to find out if we're actually friends or not right now. You ready?
Okay.
Do you guys like The Bachelor? Are you afraid to tell the truth?
We watched the old geriatric one. It was called The Golden Bachelor.
We started that one.
I hate it.
I didn't. Yeah.
I hate the show. And I'm sure the people won't agree. I just think it's
so we are friends. I don't watch it.
Good. Oh, God, we are friends.
I thought he liked it too. I was like, that's okay.
You thought I liked it?
A little bit.
You kind of prefaced it a little bit with So you guys watch The Bachelor? As in, like,
All right. I want to know where he's going with
I
this.
don't like it because I think it paints an unrealistic picture of what marriage is. Like, because it's these, elaborate dates. We're on a helicopter and now we're at the beach and now we're riding horses. And like, that's not marriage. Like marriage are the little days in between. You're going to the grocery store together. You're doing carpool together. You're going through difficulty together. It looks so sensationalized and beautiful and easy on these TV shows, but it's difficult.
Right.
And, I think that when you look at marriage in its proper context, two people sharing life together, supporting each other, encouraging each other, that doesn't look like helicopter rides on a Wednesday, usually. Sometimes it does, but normally it looks like we just got upset with each other in the line at Publix or whatever, and now we have to go in the car and ride home together and smooth it out. That's marriage. And
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Marriage is not The Bachelor.
So
that says a lot of things on a lot of different levels.
Sorry if we have Bachelor fans listening.
No.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not. I didn't really mean that. That was very insincere. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk about some small ways that really do make a big difference that we can get off track of. And I think by the end of this, we're going to give you lots of different options. What we're not saying is you got to go implement all of these. We're just going to ask you to pick one and focus on that one thing. The first one is ask yourself, am I nicer to my wife or to others? You can watch how people interact. We were at the beach the other day and we were watching this family get their photo made, and it's grandma, grandpa, all the kids. And then you could tell there was like, 3 sets of their kids with kids, if that makes sense, their parents. And Nancy goes, let's play the game of who goes with who. And I said, here's how we're going to be able to tell. They're all frustrated. You could smell it in the air. And I said, it's going to be when they walk up to their spouse, they're going to be the most frustrated with their spouse because they can get that out on. And I picked the couples out. Yeah. Boom. Batted 1,000 on that. And I thought, that's just the way you watch how couples, or you can watch couples at restaurants. You're going, oh, they're dating.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. It's like, are you nicer to other people? Because I've watched myself as well be nicer to a clerk at a gas station than I am someone. So it's this issue of being nice. That sounds so...
It sounds easy.
It sounds easy, and it's not. Just watch your tone.
It sounds like a no-brainer, but honestly, it's like I could be bad about it sometimes. If I feel a sense of comfortableness with my wife, that I can kind of, tune into the lie of like, well, I can just be myself, around my wife kind of thing. But it shouldn't be an invitation to be rude to my wife. You know what I mean?
I remember being with my wife and I saw, I think we were at a restaurant or whatever we were. And there was a couple there. They looked like they were in their 80s. They were much older than we are. And the husband pulled the chair out for his wife, sat down, put his arm around her. And I was like, that's it right there. Like who knows if they've been married for 5 minutes? Probably not. They're 80 some years old, or if they've been married for 5 decades. I don't know. But regardless, he treated her so kindly. And I was like, that's the guy. I want to be that guy right there. It was just a really nice thing, Yeah.
Absolutely. And Nathan, I love working with couples and speaking and doing all those different things is because we've done the reverse of these kind of at the first of our marriage. We didn't know what's going on. We didn't know what in the world we were doing. And so these are things that we have learned. It's like, oh, this is really easier than people have been led to believe. Another one is, get ready. Don't say everything you think. Don't what do you say everything you think.
What are you saying?
Now, Ted, you've been married 29 years. Have you followed this rule all of your 29 years?
And it goes terrible when I don't. Like, I just think if there's a question, is would this opinion draw her closer to me or push her away? There's just times where there's some things about your spouse that you're not going to understand ever. For our entire marriage, I've had to take the toaster out from under the cabinet, up to the counter, and then put it right back. That makes zero sense to me, but it makes her so happy. It doesn't work for me, but it works for us. Because what I want to say is, what are you kidding me? This is a kitchen. No one's going to walk in. We don't have people visit every day. And if we did, they're not going to go, I can't believe the Lowe's have a toaster on their counter in the kitchen.
Honey, did you see their toaster? Yikes.
Misplaced toaster.
And I'm like, should we roll the refrigerator in the garage every day? I mean, like, what's happening here? But it's one of those things. It's like, it makes her happy. It takes me a grand total of 40 seconds a day. And so it's these things of going, I don't need to say anything about that. I just need to do that.
Yeah. So
it's like the air fryer for us.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I I believe everything should be air fried.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
But it's a large thing, and I would just love to leave it out because mainly it is big, and I'm tired of like moving it. But it's an eyesore to Amy.
Yeah.
So
no, ours is small.
I put it away.
And it has to go up and down every day too.
Yeah.
Recently, recently, and I don't know why this has happened. My wife has gotten very into indoor plants. Plants live outside. Why do we have plants in the house? We shouldn't have plants inside. They live outside. That's the very design of plants. They grow in the ground, not a little pot on my counter. And yet we have plants on the pot in the counter now. And I have tried very hard not to say that stupid plant belongs outside. Why is it in the house? And she just keeps buying plants. She has more and more plants. Now they're in my bedroom. Now they're on the windowsill. It's like a jungle in my house.
But now you can breathe better.
But I don't say anything about it.
She doesn't say anything about you building things in the garage. So that works out perfect.
Also made from plants, but
Also-
they stay outside. All that being said, it's really not the end of the world. They do kind of look nice. She is probably right. It's not my favorite thing, but like there's little things that we are going to disagree on in marriage. You don't need to bring everything up. It's not going to benefit your relationship.
And we don't have to understand. We don't have to understand.
And
everything.
honestly, it makes her happy. So there you go.
There you go. Here's another one. You guys are going to write in here, but pick up after yourself. Pick up after yourself. What's the last?
Did my wife help you write this?
Mine
Because
helped me write
I'm
this.
not as good as this as I should. Your wife helped me. My wife and I have this system at our house. She does the dishes and then she sets the hand washed items on the counter to like on the little drying mat. And it's understood that I put the stuff away. But if I don't put it away, there's nowhere to put the stuff the next day. And so I'm like constantly not picking up after myself in the way that I should. And it makes her life more difficult. So I need to do this so it makes her life less difficult.
I will say we're both bad at this. So
Right, leaving messes.
yeah. We're both also second children. So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Right. Well, and I think it's a lot of it's to their level of frustration. Like if it's important to them, that's the question is it important? For me, it's important. Is it important for her for the toaster? Is it important? I get this question a lot. She walks by and I leave a glass or whatever. She'll say, "Are you done with this?" Like, and she tries to say in the sweetest voice, "Hey, are you done with these shorts that are laying there that you've been running in?" No, I'm gonna. Yeah. And so it's those moments going. That's important to her.
I'm gonna put them back on. Okay.
Right. And so it's. I think it's just the principle of going. What's the last mess that you made that your wife had to clean up? And tied to that is. Don't mention your wife's messiness. Ask yourself, when was the last time I made a comment to my wife about something that I should have just ignored in terms of the messes that she made? Because I know sometimes this can be flipped around.
Sure. Yeah.
For people.
Yeah, my wife's not terribly messy. And so I don't struggle with this one. But I know that just like living with people, whether it was like roommates in college or whether it was young adult roommates or getting married or whatever, like just people living together, they're different people. And so they don't always live and move exactly the same way. And so if something like messiness is bothering me, I'm sure my messiness is bothering her. So we have to kind of keep those things in mind. You know?
That's good.
Well, my husband / dad like thing that I've chosen apparently is open drawers. I will walk around the entire house and close drawers all day. I feel like, and I don't understand what my wife's doing with open drawers. I don't understand what my kids are doing with open drawers, but I'm like, guys, and here's the practical thing behind it all is I'm tired of fixing the drawer pulls, like the hinges and everything, because they get loose because they're open and there's stuff in them. And so that's just been
Doesn't it save time to leave it open? You're just going to get something out later.
No, Bobby.
No, I think those are the moments where you
It
just
looks
said that
better.
I just said that to intentionally irritate you.
Yeah.
I would tell my kids going, "Hey,
eye twitched.
I know.
I only close drawers and cabinets for your mom. And I'm going to do that for the rest of her life because she's cuter than you guys and you're going to leave one day. But you got to learn how." All right, here's another one. Hug your wife without the goal of initiating sex. When was the last time that you kissed or hugged your wife without the expectation of sex?
Every day we come home from work, or I'll work at the office a couple days a week. I'll work at home other days. But every time I come home when I've been at the office, the kids know mommy gets the first kiss, the first hug.
Yeah.
And now it's a game. They like try to intercept me and at the door. I'm like, nope, get out of the way. Mommy's first. And so like
stiff arming
I
children.
do like I kind of mush them off to the wall. Like, nope, mommy's over there. And I'm like sprinting through the house. But they know that. And that's a cool thing. But it also tells my wife, like, I value you and I see you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good. It's a good habit.
We're pretty much the same. Yeah. Cause I value showing my wife affection and giving her hugs. And my oldest does this. My second doesn't, but my oldest will, whenever we start to hug, he always tries to come in and like squeeze in the middle. And I'm constantly like pushing him off and everything.
Right.
So
I've heard this.
And it's become playful, but.
Right. Well, and those are talking about habits. Those are decisions that you guys have made to say, hey, I'm going to be, not only does that teach the lesson, dad loves mom, and there's affection there, but it's just.
Well, and I think the cool thing is like your kids, my kids, like they're going to grow up with that core memory of like my dad always hugged my mom. You know, and hopefully that'll live on into.
Which makes them feel safe, which makes them feel like you're solid.
That'll move on into their marriage, into their relationships, and
that's good.
Everything like that. So
this next one, I've become super passionate about over the last couple of years because, and this is just, again, observing couples and how people interact and how they respond so differently to their spouse than they do other people, is don't get frustrated with your wife's mistakes because you're going to make mistakes. She's going to make mistakes. So what is your response when your wife makes mistakes? Think about the last one she made. And I'm talking about, oh, I forgot to get X at the store, or oh, I forgot we talked about this, or even just getting frustrated about something because she's tired. She dropped something. What are those moments? Like I watched this couple one day at the beach. They came up after the end of the day and you could tell they're exhausted. 3 little kids, you know, they're trying to hose them off. And the mom handed a beach bag to the dad, and the dad sets it up on this wall and it immediately falls off and stuff goes everywhere. And she was so angry. I mean, she was just letting him have it. And I thought, I don't know their story. I don't know how he treated her that day, but I thought, I guarantee you, if her best friend had been on that trip, she wouldn't have done the same thing because her best friend got a new best friend. And so in those moments when they make a mistake, you know, see the best and just let those things go. I mean, life has enough real drama. So I think that's a big one that we need to think about. So I would just say, ask yourself.
Give the grace that you're going to want.
You're going to need in 5 minutes. Yeah. That's good. This is another one that has been huge for us that someone told us, I don't know, 20 something years ago was when you're with your wife at mealtime and in the car, don't be on the phone. I mean, I've had my kids before, and I don't do that with my kids either. And I've had my kids go, Dad, you can pick it up. And I go, I'm only going to pick it up, you know, if it's maybe one of our parents who are getting older, or.
You're talking about like with your phone, like.
Absolutely.
Your kids are like, Dad, pick it up. Come on.
Pick it up. Pick up the phone. And I'm like, no, this is our rule. And so during mealtime, put your phone away. When you're in the car with your wife, you know, none of us don't have that bandwidth of time. And there's going to be exceptions, but just having that as a general rule has been huge for us.
Yeah. And I know we're recording a podcast right now and sounds would be distracting, but just, you know, we don't have phones on the table right now just because the mere presence of a phone diminishes your communication, the quality of it. And so if you're trying to communicate with the most important person in your life, any kind of distraction is not going to be good. So removing it is a huge deal.
Well, and guys tend to talk better while they're doing something because they're not having to make eye contact. So you're actually going to be able to communicate with her better because you're looking forward and she doesn't have the expectation of a lot of eye contact. And that's where you'll find a lot of great connection is when you give that space. Yeah. Another one is, and this is so huge as well, pay attention when your wife is talking. I mean, her heads are down and we're so distracted. Again, put your phone down. If she's talking, you look at her face.
Not while you're driving though.
Especially while you're driving. No, not while you're driving. But it's just those things of going, you're important to me and I'm listening to you. I mean, when we were dating, there's no way if she was talking to us that we were listening because she would start dating someone else. And so it's those things we can become so distracted by phones, even with kids. But when she's talking, look her in the face. Again, it's these small moments where she feels valued. Yeah. It also, eye contact creates empathy in your brain for her. So if she's having a tough time, if you look at her face, it's going to create empathy in your brain for her.
And you're looking at the person as they're saying something that hurts them. And so you can almost like, your brain can almost like make that connection of like, this is something that hurts this person that I'm looking at, or this is a frustration they have or something like that. And I think it will change kind of what, moving forward, like that's going to be something that's going to be locked away. Like that's important. Well, and I tell my kids all the time that you listen with your eyes.
That's good.
And so when an adult's talking to you, look at them in the eyes.
That's great. You listen with your eyes. That's awesome.
So, and it goes for us too. Like when my wife's talking to me, listen with your eyes first, because, it's always frustrating for me when I'm trying to talk to somebody and they're not looking at me, and so it's tough because you feel like, are they listening? They're not. They're thinking about something else. And
it's great.
She's the most important person in your life.
Good.
Give her the time to look at her.
One final one before we land the plane here is enjoy your wife's humor, even when it's not funny. And that's just basically, are you rejoicing when she rejoices? Are you happy? Are you rolling your eyes? When she's excited about something that just makes no sense to you, like my wife gets super excited about getting things on sale. And she does what I call sale reveal days, where she's like, come with me. And she wants to show me everything. And I used to go, I don't. And then she would go, guess how much? And I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me. And she'd close down.
You don't care?
She'd close down like a Kmart. And so I was like, I should, now I lock in like I'm on a game show. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to guess $139. And so it's become this game. And so what is that thing? If your spouse is happy, if your wife is happy, what's your response to that? Yeah. Are you increasing the joy or taking it away?
I would say, especially like on the topic of humor with my wife, I think what's helped us be like more connected with each other is that we love sending reels to each other or things that are funny online or on our phones or whatever. I think as guys, we tend to send videos or a joke or something to other guys that, our buddies at work or our friend group or whatever, or that one text group that, we send all the jokes that our wife might not get, whatever. But I have found that a lot of times my wife just wants to know me more. And even comes down to my humor. And so she just becomes one of the people that I send the most jokes to, or the most reels or whatever like that. And just, so it's always, and we laugh about it. And we laugh about it when we get home or she'll, like it or whatever. Yeah. But even if she doesn't think it's funny, it's still another connection for her.
Absolutely.
Or another communication with her, just something that throughout the day I'm connecting with her.
And it's keeping humor alive during a serious day. I mean, Nancy sends me stuff on Instagram all the time. I'll send her things on Instagram. She's a lot of the times I'm like, occasionally, but she always wants to sit down with me and watch them again. Yes. Even if I watch them, she go, and I've told her she's the best curator of comedy.
I've learned that my wife sends reels, not for me to watch it right then, but to watch it together later.
Perfect. Yeah. That's a great example of it keeps the joy of the relationship, right? Yeah. Where did that go? Keeps the joy of the relationship. Anyway, well,
it's a good list. I like
it's a fun list, and we've got one on All Pro Dad as well.
Yeah, and there's more that we didn't get to. They're going to be down in the show notes. If you want to go through the entire list, go check out the show notes there. Pro move of the week, just pick one of these things. Pick two if you want. Pick three if you really feel like challenging yourself. But find something on this list of small moves and put it into practice this week. I bet you it'll help your marriage.
It will.
I think the first one should just be a rule.
Just be nice. Be nice. It should be assumed, but unfortunately,
that should be a flat out rule.
It is not. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope that you've learned something today. You go home and that was easier than I thought. And your wife may think, someone's new has come home and they're going to ask you what you've done.
You?
Yeah.
And go home and say, I learned I had to be nice to you today. And see what she
And if she doesn't receive it right away or she has some suspicion, then you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope that you and your wife and your kids will be glad you did.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the All Pro Dad podcast. All Pro Dad is the fatherhood program of the nonprofit Family First. Along with our motherhood program, iMom, we exist to help you love your family well. Subscribe to our daily email, the All Pro Dad Play of the Day, by going to allprodad.com/subscribe and get daily powerful and practical fatherhood tips in your inbox. The All Pro Dad podcast is hosted by me, Ted Lowe, produced by Bobby Lewis.